Ancient Greece. The name conjures images of sun-drenched marble, profound philosophy, and the birth of democracy. We envision Socrates debating in the Agora, the majestic Parthenon atop the Acropolis, and the lyrical tragedies of Sophocles. But beneath this veneer of enlightenment, a darker side existed. A world of harsh laws, brutal punishments, and a starkly different understanding of justice. This is the Greece we seldom see, a world where the line between punishment and cruelty was often blurred. To truly understand the ancient Greeks, we must confront this duality, acknowledging both their extraordinary achievements and their capacity for extraordinary harshness. By delving into these unsettling aspects of their legal system, we can gain a more nuanced understanding of ancient Greek society. We can appreciate the forces that shaped their values, their worldview, and ultimately their legacy. In the bustling marketplaces and political assemblies of ancient Greece, the crime of sycophancy cast a long shadow. Today, we might dismiss a sycophant as a mere flatterer or snitch. But in ancient Athens, this offense carried serious legal weight, reflecting a deep-seated anxiety about false accusations and the manipulation of the legal system. Sycophancy involved bringing false charges against another, often for personal gain. The Athenian legal system, for all its advancements, relied heavily on citizens bringing charges against one another. This made it particularly vulnerable to abuse by sycophants. To combat this threat, Athens implemented strict laws against sycophancy. If a sycophant failed to convince a certain percentage of the jury of their accusations, they faced severe penalties, including hefty fines and even the loss of their own civil rights. Trade formed the backbone of the ancient Greek economy, particularly for a maritime power like Athens. The bustling ports were a lifeline, bringing in essential goods like grain and olive oil, as well as luxury items from across the Mediterranean. This reliance on trade made maintaining the integrity of goods paramount. Adulteration of goods, the act of tampering with or misrepresenting the quality of products, was considered a grave offense. The consequences for adulterating goods were severe. Fines, public shaming, and even exile were potential punishments depending on the severity of the crime. These harsh penalties highlight the importance ancient Greeks placed on honesty and transparency in their commercial dealings. The ancient Greeks believed that a healthy society depended on trust, and that trust was built on the integrity of individuals and their products. Even amidst the harsh realities of ancient Greek justice, certain punishments stand out for their sheer brutality. Scaphism, a method of execution rarely employed but documented by a few ancient writers, stands as a chilling testament to the extremes of cruelty that humans can inflict. This gruesome punishment involved trapping the victim in a small hollowed-out log or between two boats. The victim's head and limbs would protrude from the openings, exposed to the elements and the torment of insects. They would be force-fed milk and honey, a perverse act of kindness that only prolonged the agony. As days turned into weeks, the victim would suffer unimaginable torment. The sun would bake their exposed skin, insects would burrow into their flesh, and their bodies would slowly be consumed by maggots, all while they remained conscious. Death, when it finally came, was a merciful release from this living nightmare. The ancient Greeks held hard work and civic engagement in high regard. Idleness, particularly among citizens who enjoyed the privileges of Athenian democracy, was not merely a personal failing, but a social transgression. To discourage this perceived vice, they employed a potent weapon: public ridicule. Imagine yourself strolling through the Agora, the heart of Athenian public life. Suddenly you spot a prominent citizen, clad in rags and forced to carry a basket of vegetables. This, you soon learn, is their punishment for repeatedly failing to participate in civic duties or contribute meaningfully to society. Public shaming, often involving menial tasks or the display of one's transgression, aimed to shame the individual back into productivity. The fear of being publicly ridiculed, of becoming a laughingstock in the very society they belonged to, was a powerful motivator. It underscores the idea that freedom and democracy came with obligations, and neglecting those obligations could have social and personal consequences. Few aspects of ancient Greek society continue to fascinate and repel us, quite like the Spartan agoge, the notoriously rigorous education and training system for Spartan males. This system, designed to mold boys into obedient, fearless warriors, included a particularly brutal and controversial practice known as the krypteia. The krypteia remains shrouded in mystery, its exact nature debated by historians even today. What we do know is that it involved young Spartan men, likely those in their late teens or early 20s, being sent out into the countryside with nothing but a knife and their wits to survive. During this period of isolation, these young men were permitted, even encouraged, to steal food and supplies from the local Helot population. Some historians argue that the krypteia went further than mere theft, that these young Spartans were authorized to kill helots, particularly those deemed a threat or potential rebels. Whether or not the krypteia involved outright murder, it undoubtedly served as a brutal rite of passage for young Spartan men. Surveying the spectrum of punishments meted out in ancient Greece, from the relatively mild shaming for idleness to the unspeakable horror of scaphism, a stark question arises: where did the ancient Greeks draw the line between justice and cruelty? On the one hand, the ancient Greeks, particularly the Athenians, prided themselves on their pursuit of justice. Their legal system, while flawed, represented a significant step forward in human history. The concept of a trial by jury, the right to plead one's case before a panel of their peers, laid the groundwork for Western legal traditions. However, this pursuit of justice coexisted with a tolerance for cruelty that can be difficult for modern sensibilities to stomach. Life in ancient Greece, while romanticized in our collective imagination, was often harsh and precarious. Disease, warfare, and famine were constant threats. In such an environment, maintaining order and deterring crime might have necessitated harsher methods. The collective good, the well-being of the polis, often trumped individual rights in ways that would be considered unacceptable today. Examining the punishments employed in ancient Greece reveals a recurring theme: the strategic use of fear and humiliation as tools of social control. Public ridicule, for instance, relied on the very human fear of shame, of being ostracized and mocked by one's community. This emphasis on public shaming as a deterrent reflects the importance of reputation and social standing in ancient Greek society. Similarly, punishments like scaphism, while likely rare, served as a chilling reminder of the potential consequences of transgression. The very knowledge that such horrors existed likely served as a deterrent, keeping potential offenders in line through sheer terror. By making the consequences of transgression both severe and public, the ancient Greeks aimed to instill a sense of fear and obedience that would prevent future crime. The journey through the darker side of ancient Greek justice, while unsettling, ultimately offers valuable insights into the complexities of human nature and the enduring challenges of governance. While we may recoil at the brutality of certain punishments, we cannot deny the echoes of these ancient practices in our own time. The use of public shaming, while less overt, persists in various forms today. The court of public opinion, fueled by social media and the 24-hour news cycle, can inflict reputational damage that rivals the impact of any physical punishment. Cancel culture, for all its complexities, reflects the enduring power of social ostracism as a tool of social control. From pandemic lockdowns to surveillance technologies, we grapple with the same fundamental questions that confronted the ancient Greeks. How much individual freedom are we willing to sacrifice in the name of security or the common good? By studying the successes and failures of ancient Greek justice, we gain a deeper understanding of these timeless dilemmas.